Hey guys, some short but very sweet news from Manor Lords. Oh yeah. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here. Welcome back. Good to see you all here for some more news on Manor Lords, with news kind of coming out sporadically about the new update and what I expect to be probably like the biggest compiled update for Manor Lords yet. In the past, we've got, of course, the crossbows and the farming upgrades and food preservation, but something that we've always wanted is coming soon: new maps. We've talked about it in other videos, and we've talked about what the possibility would be for maybe seeing rivers and things like that, and we've got it confirmed. Manor Lords has confirmed via their Twitter account, Greg, of course, has confirmed that rivers are coming, and there's a beautiful map, but there's even bigger news than that. Someone asked, hey, can we actually build bridges in the game? And lo and behold, boom, there are bridges. Now the question is, looks great, but how can we cross it? Looks like there are some stone bridges that lead across the actual rivers, so not sure if that's something that we can build ourselves or that will be provided via the King's Road, or perhaps both, but it does look like they're made of stone. And I would like to see something along the lines of Austrive, where we could build bridges out of wood and bridges out of stone, and maybe even more things in the future, perhaps a way to, I don't know, like kind of build a kind of like a mill or something along the river. If we have water power confirmed in the game, which we don't, but if we were to get some sort of confirmation on a forge or a foundry and or a mill that had water power, that would be outstanding. And I'd love to see more things like trade and boat traffic. But showing these bridges means that there could be more to come for water in the future, and it's really awesome to see it confirmed for the next update, because that was the biggest thing that we wanted to see, was new maps that had rivers. And on one of these maps here that I'm showing right now, you can see in this upper right area with the cliff, that's exactly what I was hoping to see, a large, beautiful cliffside with a river that kind of goes around a bend, and that is a great place to be able to build a fortification, in this case our manor, and with some lower areas which would be perfect for a town. Now, when I see this map, I'm really reminded by the game Austrive. If you've seen the channel before, you probably have heard and seen Austrive too. It's essentially like Manor Lords, but from a Ukrainian developer who started releasing their game long ago, and kind of reminds me more of Banished, but has evolved a lot since then, and I think it adds to inspiration for Manor Lords too, and so I hope to see both games thrive. But I also hope very much to see some of the cool things that Austrive did with fishing along rivers and lakes and large bays come into Manor Lords as well. So it'd be cool to see boats being made, and then those boats being able to perhaps fish more. And also it would be interesting to see how this winter effect in Manor Lords, the seasonal changes, are going to affect rivers too. Like, will they completely freeze over? Will they be passable? I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes for now. But I also want to see maps that then lead into lakes, and we'll have to see how that all comes together in the end. Now, other games that we've loved on the channel, like for example Farthest Frontier, never really even had water. There was never really any major rivers or like coastal areas to them. In fact, they did have water. There were coastal areas, but they weren't necessarily like major rivers or anything like that that imposed enemy movement. And so, yeah, always cool to be able to see a water coastline of any sort of magnitude in these games. Foundation, Manor Lords, City Skylines. It's really cool to build a city on a river or a shore and have a beautiful beach. And in Manor Lords, it's a lot more, I think, personally, about defense. Going back to those bridges, you could really see where you could bog down an army by maybe building your manor on the other side of that and being able to shoot at them as they come across, which would be cool to be able to have different types of bridges too, like a drawbridge or a gate bridge that has like towers and things around it as well. So, but hey, this opens the door into how we're going to get across rivers and Manor Lords, and that we will be able to have interconnected networks that don't just put us on one side of the river. The river is actually a centerpiece in the game, and that it won't be a, you know, kind of a thing that we only stay on one side of it and we get to see the river. So it is something that will actually come into play. So I'm really happy to see it. Manor Lords last month also confirming that it's making Greg happy to see all the people requesting AI cities instead of more economy factors, which is great. The economy is still going to need a lot of work, but honestly, the maps are going to be something to really bring me back into Manor Lords, and perhaps maybe one day we'll get some sort of a random generator, which is something that games like Foundation needed for a long time too, and even City Skylines. I think a lot of these games, and I know it's complicated and there's probably a lot of reasons why games can't do this, and a game like Manor Lords is all handcrafted and beautiful, but I would really hope to see, if there are ever any mods for a lot of the games that I play, I would hope that that the first mod I would ever see would be like some sort of a random map generator, because honestly, playing in the same maps over and over gets really tiresome. And in Manor Lords, that was the same case, building in some of the same cities after almost a year now. We're getting close, it's almost here, but hopefully in the next update we will see, finally, some new maps. Not just one, but I believe 2 maps are coming along, and so hopefully they're both themed around rivers. But I believe the other one might be more mountainous, and kind of curious to see if that'll have a river too, but waterfalls would be beautiful to see, smaller streams. In fact, the original map in Manor Lords does have a quote-unquote river going through it. It's more of a kind of a small stream or a creek, but it's nice to still see it and to be able to cross it, and to see that is actually a thing in Manor Lords too. So hopefully we get ourselves some other sized maps, which would be cool to see a map that is maybe one large map, but 3 different sizes, to where you can kind of play in the middle and then kind of go further out, a perimeter on top of a perimeter. So good stuff coming from Manor Lords, absolutely. Now, after this update comes out, I don't know when or what it will be, but of course it'll be centered around those new maps. I hope we do get a lot of other things that we can use on that water, as I mentioned, but also other resources that will spawn out in the field too, that are not just unique to this map and that are in other maps too. Recently we had fish added. There's little fishing ponds that will pop up, so maybe there'll be a chance for things like ducks, or maybe more rich deposits of fish, or different types of creatures that will be near the shoreline. Perhaps, I don't know if they really did this, but maybe beavers for fur, or something, I don't know, some tradable good. But it would be great to see what doors will open with that. And I'm really, really excited to see modding eventually in the future, and what other types of mods come out. Like Banished, we had the Colonial Charter mod, and I think, for Farthest Frontier, we get to eventually make very complicated production chains for things like books and for shoes and things of that nature. And Manor Lords has that too with the tannery and clothing making, but I would love to see it go much further, which goes back to what Greg said about economy, but myself personally, that's not necessarily economy as it is production, although it will fuel the economy because most likely you're going to trade those things. But that's what these bridges are for in Manor Lords, to connect your cities. And that will be a very cool thing, to build a city on 2 sides of a river. I hope that the rivers don't divide each of these provinces or sectors or cities or regions or whatever you'd like to call them. I'm really fearing that the river will be the middle point, and that you have to build a city on one side or the other. And in actuality, I'd love to see a city be able to be built on both sides, with also buildable bridges that we can control. That, I think, would be the most powerful thing for Manor Lords, to be able to allow the player to build their own bridges of multiple styles and multiple types, and even defend them. And it would also be cool if we had a chance to burn or destroy bridges if the enemy was spotted and coming along too. Additionally, with these rivers, it brings up the question of how would the enemy, or how would we cross these lakes and rivers if there wasn't a bridge. And it would be cool if there was a area to ford these rivers. A game that, again, I mentioned before, Dawn of Man, has the ability to basically ford rivers, and there's areas where they can be crossed, and you can also build bridges across them at any time too. So definitely a lot of possibility and a lot of room for this game to have the ability to build palisades and defend those rivers, and also, of course, in addition to building that, building our manor. So really excited to see the new map. I thought bridges were big enough to where everybody's asked for bridges. Again, a day one thing that we've all been asking for is finally being confirmed and will soon be delivered. I think the game is now in a closed alpha for all of these new additions. Of course, the game is out now and everyone can get it, and there are betas that are released publicly with a password, but I believe a lot of these things now are closed behind closed doors, and I hope to see more in the future. Alright, well, let me know what some of your special requests for Manor Lords would be down below in the comments section. I want to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions on what they've seen so far and what they want to see added to the game next. What's boring for you, and what do you want to see added to bring that spark back? What will make Manor Lords even more unique than it was at launch? For me, again, bridges, but confirmed, but the different ways to build them, and of course, water powered buildings, so a sawmill or a mill or a forge of some sort. I don't know. And also boat traffic, which would be great to see, to be able to trade with different kingdoms, or of course different cities that we build along the river too. It'd be really neat to be able to send things down river. And I don't know if they did that often with logs, but it would still be a very cool thing to see. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for subbing to the channel. Thank you very much for becoming members and leaving a like. And I will see you all next time for more Big O Crazy Manor Lords news on the channel. Take care. We'll see you soon.